up, guys? Thanks for checking out the channel and watching the video. Today I'm doing an apple pie. Now this is an apple pie that Mike wanted. Mike, and I kind of agree with him, I don't like the apple pies that has basically like semi-cooked apples in it. They need to be mushy. So we're making an apple pie that we pre-cook the apples so they're nice and soft without over baking the pie. So this is, I'm gonna call it Mike's apple pie. I don't know what else to call it, but so this is gonna be the recipe for Mike's apple pie. If you guys are not subscribers, take a second, hit that subscribe button. It means so much to us. Here you go, guys. This is the recipe for Mike's apple pie. All right, guys, what we're gonna do is start with about a 3-pound bag of Granny Smith apples. These came from Walmart, so of course there's some spots that are kind of but we're gonna core and peel and slice those in about a 1/2 to 1/4 inch slices. While we're doing this, we wanna put this in a water bath. And this is called an acidulated bath. Acidulated water makes the apples not turn brown when it comes in contact with the air. So we're gonna take a bin full of water or a pot of water or a bowl of water and squeeze some citrus juice. I actually have lime juice here, so we're gonna squeeze a little bit of that in there, and as we core and slice the apples, we'll put it in here and they will not turn brown. All right, guys, in a skillet or a pot, I'm using the big all-clad Dutch oven guy, or what this thing's called. I call it a big pot. We're gonna put about 3 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna put a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. This is actually dark brown sugar, because you know I love my dark brown sugar. You can certainly use light brown if you don't want as strong of a taste. A 1/4 cup of white sugar. We're gonna add 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, about a 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to grate some fresh nutmeg in here. Now, if you've never seen a nutmeg, this is what it looks like. And this is your nutmeg grater. So we're going to, about a 1/4 teaspoon or so. I do think there is a big difference in the taste of fresh nutmeg versus pre-ground nutmeg. That's about a 1/4 teaspoon. And if you've ever seen the inside of one, I don't know if I can focus on it or not. It's really cool looking. It's really pretty. And we're going to add the zest of a lemon. So we have a lemon and we have our microplane grater. And you just drag it across. I only want the yellow part on the outside. I'm going to set this off the stove, actually. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so that's the zest of a lemon. We're going to put that in and stir this madness up. Smells so good. Smells like Christmas. All right, guys, we have our apples that we've sliced, cored, and this is about what they're cut into. We're going to put that in there. Medium high-ish. We want to coat our apples. Okay, once it starts cooking, we want to cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes. We want the apples to be soft, but we don't want them to lose their shape. I guess you would say it was al dente, if we were talking about pasta. We don't want it to be mush, or we don't want to make apple butter, but we do want the apples to cook and lose their tooth. If you've ever heard tooth talks about the way it feels in your mouth. Is it crunchy? That's its tooth. All right, so we'll let this cook for about 15 minutes. All right, so this is cooking. I did taste an apple. It's really tart. These are really tart, so I added an extra 1/4 cup of white sugar to it. That makes it 1/2 cup of white sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Guys, this has cooked for about 30 minutes. They're soft, but they're not squishy. They kind of have their shape. Now, I did go back. I tasted it again, and I thought it needed more cinnamon, so I put another teaspoon of cinnamon in there. So now we made a slurry with some cornstarch and some water. If you've ever done this, the cornstarch sets up at the bottom until you stir it. And we're going to pour this over the top of this while it's boiling. just like that. Now that's going to thicken up the apples really nicely. We want to make sure they're thick enough. Cook that for a few more minutes. Now if it's too thin, we may want to put more cornstarch in there. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's thickening up very nicely. So we're going to turn that stove off. Look how beautiful. Now this will save you from having a runny pie. If you've ever made an apple pie and it's just soupy, this will stop that because you're pre-thickening the stuff. Look how beautiful. So now we want to let this cool, and we're going to put it in the fridge and cool it completely before we put it in a pie crust. But that is our apple pie filling. All right, guys, so we are going to assemble our pie. So we have our pie dough that's made. Now you can choose to do a lattice if you want to. This is for Mike, so I'm not that fancy. We're just going to do a whole top. So I'm going to cut it about like that, a little over half for the pie part, and then the other for the topping. So we're going to beat this into a rough circle. Like that. All right. On our handy dandy Temu mat that I got off of Temu. The pie crust is very cold. Michael is sitting here watching me do this.
I wonder where his drink is.
My drink?
My drink.
Oh, please. Oh, just tried to tear on me. Pooch these guys together here. Pooch them. I got some areas over here that are a little too thin, so we're just going to patch it with this. Right here, that's not put together. All right, the thin spot right there, so I'm going to pull a little bit off of that and patch that thin spot. All right. Now, into this, we have our apples that we cooked. We actually cooked them yesterday, so we're letting them, we got them really cold in the refrigerator overnight. So they are already cooked. We're going to take that and plop it right on the inside. Look how dark it is with all that cinnamon and yummy brown sugar. Okay. We're going to spread that out. Now, set that to the side because we need to roll out our pie top. Put a little more bench flour. Okay, we're going to shape that into a ball. This pot, I don't think I've put enough water in it because it's not as friendly as it usually is. It's usually a pretty friendly pie crust. Yeah, I don't think I put enough water in it because I doubled it, so, and I'll put that link on there for this pie crust. Because usually when it kind of cracks like this and does that, it means I didn't put enough water in it. But it seemed like it had enough, but once I rolled it out, nope. Oops. All right, so we want to take it to 9 inches, which that's the 10-inch mark. So we are getting close. Come this way a little bit. Pull right there. That spot right there. Okay. So we're going to roll it like that onto the rolling pin. Bring your pie back. And lay it right on the top and unroll it like that. We got a spot right here that cracks, so we're going to cover that up. So I preheated the oven to 400 degrees. So we're going to cook this hot, and then we're going to reduce the temperature. So we're going to trim off this outside edge somewhat. Just like that. Then the way I do it is I pick it up and kind of turn it under. Like that. Just like this. Michael's over here shaking his head like, no. Can I help you?
You're supposed to neatly lay the apples in the crust,
That don't happen.
not just dump it.
No, I dumped it. Okay. All right, so now we're going to start crimping our edges. And let's push that out just like that. Seal this edge. Okay, so crimp, you're going to take 2 fingers and go like that. So we go, so you can see this.
It's usually out.
Yeah, I don't care. It's an apple pie, it's going to. Just like that. Wait, where did I stop? Right there? Yeah. All right, we're almost at the end here, like this. Now we have a hole right there, so you could do something if you want to take the pie crust here and make a leaf or something like that. You could do that. Just cut out a. I'm not going to, because that's too much work. But anyway, you can make a leaf or something and lay them and decorate, blah, blah, blah. This is just from me and Michael, so I'm not too bougie with this one. Okay, clean up your edges. So now we want to poke holes in it because you've got to vent it. All right. So now we want to glaze this. You could do an egg wash. That'll give you a nice brown coating. But when we lived in North Carolinas and we were living in the Moravian community, because we just happened to get a house in the Moravian community, and they coated it with like a sugar wash. So what I do is I take milk and just pretty generously, that is a really hard word for me today, generously coat it with milk. Now, I don't know if this is the actual, this is the way I figured out they did it. Could never find a recipe. This is the way they made it in our school, in our middle school. From the best I could tell. I never had the ends with the lunchroom ladies, so I don't know how they did it, but we're just going to coat it just like that. Now you take white sugar and just coat the top of it. Just like that. Pretty heavy. Okay. Reopen our little pie crust thing, our little slits right here to make sure we're venting good. Okay. This will go into that 400-degree oven for about 25 minutes. After that, we're going to drop the temperature down to 375 and let it cook for about 30 more minutes. But we will probably put foil around the outside edge. So I'm going to put this on a baking sheet in case it boils over. We don't want to clean up apple from the oven. So put that on a baking sheet and put it in the oven. All right, it has baked for about 25 minutes at the higher temperature. So we're going to shield the edges. Going to go back in the oven for about 35 minutes at 375. All right, guys, it has finished baking. We did take the foil off the top of it and let it bake for another 10 minutes or so just to get a little extra brown on it. But you can see how that sugar like kind of glazed the top of it. If I can catch it right there, you go. You can see that glaze and sweet sugar topping on it. It's crunchy too. So we're going to let that cool completely and give it a taste. Okay. Again, look at, if you can see inside of it. So cinnamony. Smells so good. You can smell the apples and the cinnamon. Delicious. I know Mike's going to like that. These apples are soft. They're tart. They haven't lost their shape, so it's not like apple butter or anything like that. Crust is delicious. It's got that hint of the lemon from the lemon zest. Wonderful. So anyway, guys, this is Mike's apple pie. I hope you tried it. If you try it, make sure you put a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, you guys have a great week out there. Make sure you hit subscribe. It helps so much. Be safe, but above all, be kind to each other.